It was a sad, sad day for Italy. You're happy with it, are you? You're mad. Gigi Buffon in tears last night as Italy crash out of the World Cup. We're going to be diving right into that story. But this is News at 10. If it's your first time, we're here every single morning at 10 a.m. talking about the big stories, which of course is Italy. But we've also got to talk about England versus Brazil and, of course, Republic of Ireland versus Denmark and the possible new manager of Everton. But let's get straight into the back pages, where actually not too much about Italy, considering it's such a huge story.
I suppose England are playing Brazil tonight, but that's a friendly. Italy just missed out on their first World Cup
since 1958.
A long time.
Mad. Let's go to the Express. It's not like watching Brazil. Gareth Southgate kind of rallying cries on all the back pages today, saying that they don't need to be concentrating on souvenirs tonight. They need to be concentrating on getting the result. Of course, it is a friendly, but he's been quite impressed with how they've dealt with the pressure, I guess, of bringing in a lot of young players into the squad after so many withdrawals, which is also another line that the press have picked up today. Don't get shirty is the headline on the Metro, same kind of thing. Don't be concentrating on getting shirts, just concentrate on the win. The Mirror is the one that interests me a lot today. Job for the boys. Southgate saying that he's going to carry on taking risks, and essentially what this risk is that bringing so many young players into the England squad. And what he's hoping is, with all the withdrawals that have happened, when it gets closer to the time, closer to the World Cup, and then beyond that, because it is a young squad, what you've got a lot of guys who've kind of had a taste of international football, a lot of young guys who've had a taste of it, and that's going to lead to less players.
It's only a good thing, man, to bring young players into the squad, because it's new for them, it's exciting for them, they have something to prove, and it makes all the senior players buck up their ideas, and they realise that, oh, actually, it's not a comfortable situation anymore. You need that in a football team. As soon as players get comfortable in the position they're in, their commitment and their drive is going to drop a little tiny bit. It's just what professionals do.
Yeah, The Guardian is saying Southgate admits playing numbers game. Same kind of sort of talking point, that if you've got that competition there, then it's going to make a massive difference. Another interesting line with Southgate is that he was saying in that friendly, he saw more from some of the players in that friendly against Germany than he has done throughout his whole sort of tenure as the England manager. What he was trying to get at with that comment was the fact that on the training pitch, in that short period of time that he's often been quite frustrated with the fact that it hasn't crossed over into those qualifying games. There have been a lot of frustrating performances for England with those senior players. But the players that he brought in, Loftus-Cheek and Lewis Cook's come in now, it'd be interesting to see if he starts tonight. Yeah. He's been a lot more happy with what he's trying to get across onto the pitch, he says in that friendly, but we will see.
And as the time, there's a good comment there from Samuel Brooke Williams saying it's about time England started using their youth, been playing the same players for too long, and that comes at a time, we've already talked about it, won the under-17s World Cup, the under-19s Euros, and the under-20s World Cup. Yeah. If there was a time, now is it for the England youth setup.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the back page of the Telegraph, which leads on to the biggest talking point, certainly of the week, certainly of the international break.
Yep.
Heartbreak for Italians. Azzurri failed to qualify for the World Cup finals for the first time in 60 years. Get your comments in. Let us know your thoughts on this if you were watching the game yesterday. 0-0 against Sweden. They lost the first leg 1-0. They absolutely battered Sweden.
Well, they didn't. They did. They reached a door that they couldn't break down.
It was like this giant Swedish fort outside the penalty area as they sort of knocked on the door. But you're right, the chances that they had were so-so, actually. And Adam in the office, we were talking about it just before we went live, was saying how incredible the Swedish defence was. So many big names in that Italian squad, and it looks like it's the end for a lot of them. Buffon in tears after the game ended. He knew that was the last game of his 175 caps, but he's not the only one, is he?
No, he's not. You've got Chiellini, you've got, I think, Barzagli maybe as well. You've got De Rossi, who he was having some strong words with Ventura on the bench.
Bonucci as well, possibly.
I mean, it's going to be one of those like changing of the guard, where this old Italian generation goes out and the new one comes in. Comment there from Adrian Ordonez saying Italy benched El Shaarawy and Belotti, that's not how you get into the World Cup.
Lorenzo Insigne was the big one.
Exactly,
there was a clip of Daniel De Rossi being asked to warm up, and he's fuming because he's going, we don't need to draw this game, we need to go and win it. You don't need me, you need this guy, who's been in incredible form for Napoli. Throughout the press, they've been saying that he has to be playing for Italy. But Ventura, who's the 69-year-old manager of Italy, the oldest manager they've had, and he's now the first ever manager to not take, first ever Italian manager not to take the team to the World Cup, because before it was a load of technical directors, so they were able to shoulder the blame. So he has that on his CV now. He's a manager who's he's won a Serie C title, but generally he's been a mid-table manager. So there's a lot. I think it's Gabriel Marcotti. I was listening to him, and he was saying that the grumblings within the squad, there's going to be a lot of stories that are going to come out in the weeks and months. Apparently, the most experienced guys, those guys that you would imagine, that back three, and Buffon and De Rossi as well, it got to a point where they were sort of negotiating the tactics that they were going to be using and having to take over, because by the point of the last game, this is what Marcotti was saying, he's saying that it was done and dusted. He lost his way completely. It
is. I'm reading some of the comments here. We've got Mr. Munchie saying, shame Italy won't be in it, but if Sweden defend like that in the World Cup, which they did, they should be a formidable team. We've got Matt Nav saying, I don't give two shits about Italy, respect Buffon and their players, but couldn't care less if Italy are in the World Cup or not. And I'll tell you what, right, Italy are a bit like Germany.
They're not there.
I know, well, you can be, but because you love football. Yeah. But Italy and Germany, like two of those teams that just always do well at international tournaments. And as an England fan, it's a bit frustrating to see that. So I'm quite enjoying this. A little bit of Schadenfreude. I'm enjoying their misery.
That's true. Do you know what, when it comes to the draw for any of the other teams, that's one team that's not going to be in it, and it might help England in terms of, if you look at the last World Cup, they were involved in it, and it made our our group a lot harder. Just want to read the quote on Buffon, who said to Sky Sports, what a legend he is. I'm sorry for Italian kids who dream of the national team, but I think also Chiellini, Barzagli and De Rossi will leave the national team, and they deserve the best.
Like a slow violin behind you saying
by your Gigi. Let's not forget Sweden in all of this, who were very happy, very resolute. Check out this clip. I think it's from Eurosport. The guys are trying to do the analysis after the game, but the Swedish players are having none of it. They're loving it. So Sweden go through, and England have had Sweden in the past. It could have them again. For me, I think the World Cup is a lot worse off for it. Sweden didn't really play much football, certainly in that second game. I understand the reasons why.
It's knockout football, though. There's different types of football. It's knockout football.
But we had Euro 2016 was pretty woeful because of those teams that didn't want to play. I think there's a stat as well that since Sweden scored in the last playoff game of the World Cup playoffs, there hasn't been a goal.
But that is hardly surprising.
They're adding to that with their lack of
hardly surprising. It is definitely a game which you cannot afford to lose. You literally have the responsibility of a nation on your shoulders. It's one game whether you go to the World Cup or you don't go to the World Cup. Sweden
manager Jan Andersson was very happy until he had to do his press conference, because all the talk was then about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Will he be going to the World Cup? He's obviously coming back from a difficult injury, but he did retire a year and a half ago. But he couldn't resist, could he?
Couldn't. He had that banked. I love Ibrahimovic. You know, as a United fan, I've seen how much of an influence and impact he can have on the mentality of a squad. But the concept of him coming out of retirement after a wonderful qualification by Sweden to get through to where they are, he played no part in it. Hasn't played for United since he did his ligament injury against that, I don't know what it was, in the Europa League semi, I think it was. Let me know in the comments, do you think that Ibrahimovic should come out of retirement and play for Sweden at the World Cup? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Let's say yes or no in the comments.
Yeah, he was, I don't know if we've shown you this tweet or not, but he did tweet straight on it. Nothing kind of humble about it at all. And this is another interesting one. Is he doing his own tweets? We want to know this. Does Zlatan do his own tweets? Because we are Sweden with a capital Z. It feels loaded to me. I never knew a letter could be so loaded. Well, he's clearly going, Sweden is about, again, it has to be all about.
Well, he's got a statue outside the National Stadium, so I think he's got a bit of a point.
So which means that'd be weird if he's playing if he's got a statue outside the stadium. So maybe he needs to leave it for now.
Or just take the statue down.
Let's rattle through the other games that are happening tonight. Of course, England versus Brazil.
The big one.
We spoke about them a little bit earlier with the back pages, but as I said, another interesting game for Southgate, who's making some little experiments, and I think I'm quite pleased about it, I'll be honest. Let us know your thoughts on that. The other one, Republic of Ireland versus Denmark tonight. Huge game for Republic of Ireland. They got, unlike Northern Ireland who conceded that goal, it's 0-0 going into this one. Great opportunity for them. Can they do it? Will they do it? What do you think, Sam?
Have you heard the rumours that Roy Keane might actually be coming out of retirement if they qualify?
Right.
It's only a rumour at the moment, but you don't know.
He probably could do a job.
He probably could. I'd like to see Ireland qualify. You know, their fans are fantastic, and in terms of World Cup atmosphere, it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty dismal in Russia. Maybe Ireland will actually bring a little bit of colour to it, and I would like to see Ireland in the World Cup. Final two. Here's another back page that I need to get to you. Where is it? On the I think it's the Independent. Watford reject Everton approach for Silva. Everton, of course, still don't have that manager in place since Ronald Koeman left a couple of weeks ago. I think there was a general feeling that they were hoping that they would have someone in place by the end of this international break, but it looks like they're still going to be waiting. Everton fans, let us know, are you in any rush to appoint a manager, or are you okay with Unsworth for the rest of the season? In terms of getting into Europe and things like that, it feels like it might be too far away, although there's a long... Oh, no, I think another question, would you be prepared to wait until the summer if you knew you were going to get Marco Silva, who clearly is a manager that everybody is after he's done so well at Watford? One thing we've got to say before we finish here, we're on Volley, a new app all about sports, all about football. Ball Street are on there. There's a link in the description. You can go in there and follow us on there. Let's go back to the news. Yeah, final one. Fernando Torres is on his way back. Liverpool fans, you'll be delighted with this. Apparently, the 33-year-old, who's not getting as much game time as he used to at Atletico Madrid, is going back to Rafa. Of course, they smashed it up, didn't they? They did. Way back when. I hated Torres then when he was bleached blonde hair, like one of those like Alice bands around
tore you apart, didn't he? Away from home 4-1.
Vidic's nightmare.
So the Mirror and ESPN have picked up this, saying that there could be a loan move for Torres to Newcastle in January. Newcastle fan, let us know your thoughts on this, because he's not the same guy. He's the same name, but let me remind you of a man called Ian Rush, who is also a Liverpool great, who also went to Newcastle, who was also awful once he got there. So for me, I don't think this is the striker that Newcastle need. They haven't scored in the last 2 Premier League games. Their front line is a little bit toothless, but is Torres the answer at the age of 33? I guess if you're getting a striker from Atletico Madrid, then you've got to be pleased. I mean, it's romantic, isn't it? Him linking up with Benitez again. It could be great, but I'm not sure. Shelvey and Torres together, that's a bit of a scouse combo. I don't want to see. The Chronicle in Newcastle is saying the switch is likely to be dependent on the club getting taken over, but Ashley said that will be done by Christmas. So there you go. And Ashley never lies. So never lies. Never lies. Couple of comments before we finish off. Why not? Aaron Sharp, Torres to Newcastle. What? Good. He's quite surprised about that. Exactly. Got Dan Mallon saying not too fond on a Torres deal. Maybe you're a Newcastle fan. If you are, Dan, let us know why in the comments. Ex-Liverpool strikers don't do too well in Newcastle, says Daniel Verschure, which is a point you were getting across there. Yeah. And Mr. ASG, England will get smashed. Can see Neymar, Jesus and Coutinho destroying them. I'm slightly worried as well. Right, so let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button. Join us for news at 10 tomorrow at 10. Makes sense, doesn't it? Subscribe to Ball Street. We'll see you then.